Hello everyone, in the previous video we saw a brief introduction about robots. In this video we'll talk about Teach Pendant. As previously discussed, any industrial robot consists of three main components. First, the robot, which is the mechanical unit. Second, controller. And third, the Teach Pendant, which is the software unit. A robot is a mechanical unit consisting of arms which are driven by servo motor, and the place where two arms meet is called a joint. For example, let us consider these two pens as two different arms of the robot, and the place where two of them meet is a joint. So, in this example, there are 6 different joints: J1, J2, J3, J4, J5 and J6, and the end effector is always placed at the end of the J6 axis. Now it can be anything. It can be a hand gripper, a welding torch. It depends upon the application. Come on to the Teach Pendant. Teach Pendant is the control box which is used for programming the motion of the robot. It is also called as Teach box. Now it contains 67 keys and 3 main switches. We'll talk about the function of 67 keys later on in this video. But let's first cover the function of 3 main switches in the Teach Pendant. The first switch is Teach Pendant Enable switch. This switch enable and disable the Teach Pendant. It acts like an on-off button. So whenever the switch is disabled, you won't be able to perform any function or program the robot. Next comes the deadman switch. I'll clear the example of deadman switch by taking an example. Now for example, whenever you try to call somebody, you require network in your phone. Without network, you won't be able to call. Similarly, without pressing deadman, you won't be able to move the robot. Next comes the emergency button. Whenever this button is pressed, the robot will stop regardless of whatever the status of robot is. Till now, we have discussed that robot is a mechanical unit driven by servo motor, and the place where two arms meet is called a joint. And the Teach Pendant is a control box which is used for programming the robot, and it has 67 keys and 3 main buttons, which are Teach Pendant Enable Disable switch, the deadman button and the emergency stop button. Now let's move on to the remaining keys of Teach Pendant. So this is what FANUC Teach Pendant look like, and it has 5 different types of keys. Keys related to menu, keys related to moving the robot, keys related to execution, keys related to editing and other keys. So let's see them one by one. Before starting, I want to tell one thing. This is just an overview video. We will cover everything in detail in the upcoming video. Let's start with the keys related to the movement of the robot. So these are the keys which are responsible for movement of the robot, and these keys will only be effective if we hold down Shift key. Without pressing Shift, the robot will not move. So for example, if I press Shift and then jog the robot in J1 axis, it will move this way. And if I press -X, it will move the opposite way. So let's see again how to jog a robot. First, you have to make sure Shift button is pressed. After that, select the joint which you have to move, whether it is J1, J2, J3, J4, J5, J6. So that's why the concept of joint is very important. Without that, you won't be able to understand this. So if I move J3 joint, this joint will move in the upward or in the downward direction. Plus J3 means in the upward direction, and minus J3 means in the downward direction. So if I press plus Z, it will move in the upward direction. In the minus Z, it will move in the downward direction. Similarly for J2, this joint will move in the forward or backward. So plus Y means in the forward, minus Y means in the backward direction. And J1 joint means this joint. They are attached with the ground. So it will move, plus X will move like this and minus X like this. Now, these 2 keys are the override keys which are used to adjust the speed of the robot. Right now, the robot is at 100%. So if I reduce the speed to 50%, it will move slower like this. So before moving the robot, we have to press the Shift button and then select the joint which we have to move. So see, it's moving slowly. And if I increase the speed to 100, It's moving fast. So let's stop here as it's too much to grasp for the first time. So practice how to jog the robot, and in the next video we will cover remaining keys. Here I am using simulation software RoboGuide. Write down in the comment section if you are having problem in downloading this software. I'll make a separate video on this. Thank you.